Hello and welcome to Warblog. I'm going to play the Spinakalacha game. I'm not sure this is a particularly accurate representation of what went on. There seems to be far too many units. But what I have sort of determined and figured out to some extent, if you looked at the other video, is that these little vignettes, as they call themselves, storming Spinakalacha village, relate only to, I think, minor elements. For example, this is the what we call it, capture of Spinakalacha Pass, but it's actually Operation Magistral, which was massive, and this doesn't really encompass. I mean, you can see the 40th army there. It doesn't really encompass, everything that's happening. So it's only really, I think, each one of those are small snippets of the whole. So, for example, in this one, it says, well, basically, it's by Lieutenant LTC AN Shishkov, and what he'll probably say in here somewhere is my brigade, or I don't know. I think it's more from a personal point of view of his actions in that campaign, his part in that scenario. So in this one, what we've got is Vlasian, and he is actually relating it in regards to his part in this, which was the taking of Spinakalacha village. However, and this is the bit where I'm trying to stress, there was more happening. For example, this little map that he's sort of drawn up that bears no relation to anywhere on this planet. Basically, if you look at it, it's got, well, there's his 7th Infantry Regiment. Did I call them 7th? Yeah. 2nd Motor Rifle Brigade. Oh, I don't know. What I was going to say is not all the units are accounted for in here. I mean, this can't be an entire brigade when he's got companies down here, recon platoons. So if that's a brigade, that's a 2nd company, presumably, or the 2nd Motor Brigade. Okay, so maybe what I'm saying is not quite right. 2nd, see, I mean, the thing is, it's got all these at times. So the 2nd Motor Brigade, 6th Motor Rifle Company. I can never really figure out what these. So obviously the 31st, 1830. What I'm trying to say is that I think there was more going on, because essentially there's an entire Afghan regiment. Now, if he's trying to say that the Afghan regiment sort of come in here, whilst it's what's doing the job are his, I mean, basically he sort of relates to down here at 1335, my 5th MRC, Motor Rifle Company. He only sort of seems to relate to the action of his company. So basically at 1320, signal start of artillery preparation, howitzers. I mean, that's actually wrong. It's MLRS. So, and I think this is an interpretation from Russian. So, anyway, so he moves out with his 5th Motor Rifle Company, and then basically at 1355, his 4th Motor Rifle Company, Assault Group 2, attack the battalion's left flank. Attack on the battalion's left flank. So his whole battalion is attacking the village, but he's got it split up into not only companies but assault groups. Shaken and broken, the enemy defences Shulkin broke the enemy defense and destroyed his covering forces guarding the entrance to the canyon. So there's no canyon I can see on this map anyway. Two more 4th MRC platoons, Motor Rifle Company platoons. So this is from the 4th Motor Rifle Company. So he's breaking it down to platoon level action now throughout the western part of the village. At 1600 hours, the 5th Motor Rifle Company completed the destruction of the enemy in the eastern part of the village and established blocking position. So basically, his entire action is supported with artillery fire, but is basically based on the 5th and the 4th Motor Rifle Company. So essentially, he uses 2 companies out of this entire battalion. So he uses, when he's got, I think, 8 units there, including the Recce, because I put that in. So let's go into play mode. At your leisure. Can't see it going around in circles on camera. Generous. Okay, so basically he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so he has a battalion up here, which essentially is I've made up of 5 companies. Now, I think maybe I should only put the 4th and the 5th in there, but I put all of them in there just to sort of beef it up a bit. But when you actually read this, there's 2 battalions here, so we've got the 2 battalions with their Recce. I haven't given them any extra artillery. We've got the howitzers, 122 and the 142mm howitzers, and the somewhere else here, the MRLS, whatever it is, MLRS. And then we've got an entire regiment of Afghan units. Now what they're saying is that all of these units could not cope with all of this. But this unit was brought in and they regrouped in this place, which is Spinakalacha. This is Spinakalacha. So they move over here. Their role is to take out this. Now, if we do go back to this, I'm just trying to interpret it all really. Right at the beginning, it does sort of say, blah 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 blah. No, it's up here. Yeah, I haven't gone far enough. I knew it was at the top. Basically, the strong enemy force overran a series of security outposts in the Daman region. Now, I haven't actually even looked up the Daman region, but I'm presuming it's basically the same as the Kandahar region. And that is actually a big assumption, but I'm making it because I'm lazy. But basically what I'm saying is this unit's role was to take out Kanchala. What's that place called? Spinakalacha. No, this is Kandahar. This is Kandahar, and this is Spinakalacha. Okay, but this battalion is to take out this, and all these other units are going to be doing the other things that are associated with this strong enemy force. Now, I don't actually think I've done it very strong, because I'm sort of assuming that it's really just about this village, but I think considering it's not, I might double a lot of these up. So basically, I don't know where Spinakalacha actually is. I've seen my previous video for why. It could be somewhere, but and B, and I've just realised this now, and I'm just stating it, and again it could be wrong, but I think that whole little vignette, it really only relates to his experience, and you know, you can maybe sort of understand it a little bit. I mean, they wouldn't want to leave this completely undefended. So, and this is the stronghold, and this is where, you know, the focus of all their activity. So they're basically pinning this stronghold down while this other sizable force takes care of all these other bits. Now, if this unit wasn't here, you might assume that, you know, this would keep supplying these, and, you know, maybe it was just a bit too much. So anyway, let's see what we can do. Now, basically, I have put these units over here to reflect his 500-kilometre trek across the country. As I said, I was going to use a big map, but even so, 500 kilometres is in England, I think. Maybe not that far, but possibly Europe. Maybe not. Anyway, could definitely be in the Indian Ocean, I think. But they've got to get there first. So let's actually do that. So nothing actually happens until they get there. And he's still got half of his movement left. I still haven't adjusted the movement as I sort of keep saying I want to. Come on, move into there. Yeah, okay. Sometimes things take their sweet time. Okay. So I've got a lot of movement, but I'm going to stack everything up in this hex here. Now, in this game, I've actually split everything down into companies. So this is a battalion, and I've given it a sizable battalion, not just the two companies that maybe he actually only had. But I've split it down. Now, I'm not trying to get into the level of tactical gaming. That's where you actually have the platoons and squads, and he had a tank and he put a shovel on the front of it and used it to clear mines. He ordered, and this is what gets me. I mean, obviously this is what he did, and there's nothing wrong with it. But he orders this MLRS unit to lay smoke. Now in this game you never do that because there's no rules for smoke. It's just too bitty. But why would you get this really powerful rocket unit laying smoke when it could be laying explosives? When you read the breakdown of his units, it's sort of more platoon level, whatever that game is, squad leader, I think. And I don't want to go there, but basically I've sort of compromised a little bit in the nature of this game by splitting this battalion up into companies so that you can then actually maybe start to do things that reflect what he said he did. He assaulted this with two companies, so you have the option to assault it with two companies instead of staying at battalion level, because otherwise there'd be a lot less units. The reason I'm labouring that point sort of at this moment is because the result of that is you spend half a year moving your battalion instead of doing it in one hit. And the question is, would I ever have need for them to be split up like that? The only other thing you will notice if you've played a lot of the other games is that these are pretty strong companies. In fact, to be quite honest, they're maybe a bit too strong. Either that or I should actually upgrade the Mujahideen battalions, which are weaker than the companies. Been reading that book, Superpower Fought and Lost. It's not really what I wanted because it doesn't really have the sort of battle scenarios in. But it is actually quite interesting because it sort of details about how the Mujahideen worked and how the Russians were lazy and the Mujahideen basically ruled the night, and how they moved around, caravans, and how ambushes were pretty key to things that you can't do at this level of gaming. But they would just sit there basically thinking, they wanted to do it in companies. They like big operations, but basically they would go with sort of squads of like 10 men and lay ambushes on caravan routes. Anyway, it's getting to the 15-minute break. I don't know whether I'm going to continue doing this, but I might.